Welcome, Galactic family. It is the truth that sets you free, not your efforts to be free. Jiddu Krishnamurti. We are about to enter a new energy month, where we will finally witness to the cosmic rebirth of our planet in the fifth dimensional domain. A space where freedom, unconditional love and authenticity are our only means of being and existing. We were in the old worlds, which were useful for the growth of our soul, but which, because of who we become, are no longer in line with our new pentadimensional timeline. We have seen dissipating our inner shadows, bringing acceptance, light, and greater understanding to what previously seemed unsolvable to our lower selves. After doing all the inner work that never ends in this endless divine spiral, we are finally ready to go through the veils of illusion, which once served us to experience a limited reality, and access a new octave in which our highest aspect already inhabited. It is during this new month of September that our beloved planet is finally branching out of the 3D matrix. As you already know, this does not concern a physical location, but rather the frequency we choose to consciously inhabit what decides whether we remain under the bondage of three-dimensional forces or whether we travel to a new space in the higher realm. The pentadimensional frequency is a frequency that you create. As you ascend and incorporate, you hold it internally. It is not an external event or something destined to occur globally that will change them. If you exist in that higher frequency, you will manifest accordingly, seeing evidence of this everywhere. On the contrary, if you only read about it, but do the inner work of consciously raising your frequency, by releasing an old self, then all you will see will be equally proof of your lack of alignment. It is a conscious choice. There are no external miracles that will come to save you, because you are the ones who must create them to begin with. The igneous energies that have been bathing us and will continue to be with us, for at least 6 months, will be of great help to us to continue releasing, while continuing to integrate a higher level of consciousness. As always, the need to work with our mental and emotional bodies never ends, and these ardent energies of the eclipse, the Lion Gate and our central sun are giving us the proper frequency we need to continue our healing work. As I always say, this is not a race, and there is no fixed time to access this new higher dimensional space, as some of us who already reside outside space and three-dimensional linear time are already experiencing. During August and in this new month of September, energies will continue to be evident, returning old memories that have been deeply hidden in our subconscious, as well as other deep wounds, not remembered due to our human feeling of denial, so that we can clarify what is waiting, so that it teaches us something valuable, that will serve for the growth of our soul. All memories, regardless of their nature, or how our ego self labels them, must be unified, not erased or denied. This is what will bring us the opportunity to liberate our soul, and therefore integrate, allowing us finally to release old karmic vows and ties, as we begin to realize that no one has done anything to begin with. Everything was previously agreed about certain situations that were meant to help us during our earthly adventure. It has never been for us to fully believe in the evil nature of these actions. Regarding physical sensations, as I always say, we are all unique, and generalizations will not help, only listening to your body will do. The energies of the eclipse and other cosmic events that took place this summer northern hemisphere will continue to be strongly felt. The energies in themselves are doing nothing to you, it is your resistance to healing that causes pain. When physical sensations arise, it is because your body is asking you to listen and realize where you are still retaining old memories and pain, which is the resistance in integrating that higher frequency you are receiving. the more you let go of what your egoic self still clings to, the more you can soften those physical sensations that are keeping you from welcoming the inner healer and master. The time has come to recognize the treasure behind the lessons, the gift behind our human illusions, and begin to realize the divine blessings of all we are facing, whether good or bad. We will never reside in the higher vibrational space because of mere words, but due to inner work, and to remain continually in the enlightened presence of our soul, where all is love, equal and has a higher purpose. In this transitional stage, and especially for those who feel that they are navigating between these two domains, adrift as well as for those who are beginning to enter this journey, remember, beloved, the work of soul recovery is essential for let us feel whole and in peace, not only in this individualized aspect called X, embodied in this planet, at this moment, but with all our past, parallel and future aspects that need this integration and purification. As you ascend, other aspects of you will do the same, even the direct souls, who belong to your direct soul family, who depended on your unique process for ascension. It is your opportunity to ascend while you are in the physical. It is your responsibility also for everything that occurs in your experience of human life. Everything that you thought was real was just an illusion, a distorted reality of 3D manipulated by many forces and sources of the darkness that made you believe it was real. The old earth was never as real as you thought it was, nor were you. Now, in this five-dimensional space, we are the bearers of truth, the reconstructors of the earth in its purest form, and those who must come first to be renewed and purified of all human illusions. Are you ready? Or do you still feel attached to something/someone, remaining in a three-dimensional space that, even if it is not aligned with your highest will, do you consider it essential? Remember that for which you do not say goodbye/release, remains with you, preventing you from moving forward. Do you feel free to practice what you preach and express your true feelings? Or do you still rely on external forces without realizing that your inner strength is more powerful? Being present and aware at all times makes all the difference. As confirmation of the new beginning, which is not only our experience, but also of our planet, this month is a reduced 10/1-19 universal number. We are starting to anchor ourselves in a new 5D timeline, something that will take time, will require constancy and patience, because the journey is paved with challenges, and the more we try to accelerate this interchange in this physical transition, the more we are stopping it. This is what the number 10 represents, at this powerful moment, a transition in which we are completing an old cycle and beginning to anchor ourselves internally in a new one. It is in this interface that, to sustain a higher frequency, is essential for us to take this quantum step. In the tarot, the card representing the number 10 is the Wheel of Fortune. This letter represents the transition, the change of destiny, which we have been able to realize, that we create consciously for ourselves, and that we only know if the change we create from within will lead us to a higher or lower space, because nobody can never predict where we are going, if not ourselves. On a cosmic level, we begin September having the warrior Mars entering Virgo, next to the Sun in this same sign. Ferocity and impulsiveness, as well as the force of Mars, in the pure sign of the Virgin, will help us to use all this force to build something practical and lasting, what we need in this moment of change, to build the strong foundations of the new, which will serve us to build and expand on these new horizons, which we have just begun to delight. To help us master our journey of bringing the desires of our soul down to the tangible, that very day, Mercury will return to direct motion, though, as you may already know, I do not nourish the old 3D belief/fear of retrograde Mercury, and talk about something that is simply an illusion from Earth, will again bring me into the same trap, and I am loyal to my truth. The next day, September 6th, we will have a powerful and magical full moon in Pisces. As nothing happens by chance in this loving and wise universe, we have just had a new moon in Leo to burn the remnants of our old worlds, and with Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, gives us the opportunity to transcend the illusion, an age of slavery, and begin to close all karmic contracts, as we are forgiving and compassionate with all that we create that no longer serves us. And with the regenerating power of water, let us begin anew. As it happens in creation, nothing is left adrift or is made without a motive in our dense plane, and this full moon occurs in the 13th degree of Pisces, to help us to transform, transmute and reconstruct an old reality promoted not long ago only by unconsciousness, but by incapacitation and lack of compassion. The 5D space we now occupy, as I said, is a space and an external reality that we have created now. It is not based on hypocrisy, in which it is better to pretend than to be, because we all remember now, because we all know that it is not to be seen or to act, but simply to be. Because by being, we become who we are, ourselves, and help others to understand, becoming us flags of the ways of love. On September 9th, Mercury will enter the Virgin together with Venus doing the same on September 19th, which will culminate in a wonderful and comforting new moon on the 27th of Virgo, the next day, September 20th. Virgin essence, which will govern most of this month, will help us to purify ourselves by being anchored. The earthly sign of Virgo, ruled by Mercury, is associated with the archetype of the Virgin, which in no way is related to celibacy. On the contrary, it has to do with the divine feminine archetype of wisdom, purity and wholeness, welcoming and loving all that touches. The physical Virgo likes to serve humanity, which gives her joy and purpose. The pure and loving sense of caring for others that the Virgin already possesses, without forgetting herself and the practical aspects of life, which will be emphasized during the full moon of Pisces. Mercury and Venus in Virgo give us the opportunity to express ourselves with precision, love, equality and integrity. Mercury in Virgo will be very comfortable, because it rules Virgo, and we can fall into the extreme of being too mental, because the loving essence of Venus will remind us of the importance that being aware of our thoughts and words has for ourselves and for others. Since the Virgo sign tends to be very practical and analytical, and even more so with Mercury, Venus will remind us that we need to be sensitive to ourselves and to all our relationships. Most of the time, it is not about what we think, feel or say, what hurts more, but what we do not express, which we deny to feel for ourselves and our encounters. Being sensitive means making us our caregivers, because only by loving and accepting ourselves completely can we do that to others. Venus will remind us of the importance of not being diplomatic or practical, but also of the importance of discerning what we are going to express before harming anyone. The new moon in the 21st degree of Virgo, on September 20th, will be a healing bath, after the intense energies that we have been integrating and that have most often caused a profound impact on our physical bodies. These Virginian moon energies will help us calm down as we continue to fork out old earth. The full moon in Pisces invited us to see beyond human reality and access the vast ocean of our inner realms, becoming one with our aspect that is able to transcend the mundane in order to heal those deep wounds that have not yet been brought, as well as discover new realities, that even if they are invisible to human eyes, are as real as the dense world we experience physically. Virgin, on the other hand, invites us to anchor ourselves, as well as to the purpose of our soul, in the tangible reality. For it is not only a question of building in the etheric, without giving form, but of enjoying the psychic visions in the physical as well. On September 23, we have the Sun entering the sign of Libra, along with the equinox. Both events are one, since both are sending us the same message of unification and balance, rescued through the proper process of inner alchemy that we have been working for a while. The passage of the equinox will bring about a unification of both our aspects, dark and luminous, and it will remind us again that it is due to both forces that we are complete and that it is only our human self that creates division and false judgments. As for the divine, all are one and the same. With the energies of Libra and Virgo this month, we have a very powerful and comforting period to balance our feminine and masculine essences internally. We all have them, it has nothing to do with the genre. If we wish to evolve and bring down this five-dimensional frequency in ourselves, we must first surpass our deep sense of polarity and separation. We do this by starting to unify ourselves, and once we create the inner synthesis, feeling completely wholehearted, loving, and harmonious with ourselves and with everyone, we are ready to take the next step in this infinite evolutionary spiral. The next day, Jupiter will make a conjunction with Chiron. When Jupiter dwells in Chiron, he invites us to expand healing. This is a wonderful cosmic encounter so that we can discover new healing methods, opening our minds still limited to finding new ways in which we can continue working with the endless process of DNA reconnection, emotional healing and many other things we are dealing with, as we continue to reveal more layers of our three-dimensional self in order to incorporate/unify us with our higher self. With regard to the following aspects that I will share, I know that these aspects are seen as a curse for most traditional astrologers whose work I respect and love. However, although I am not an astrologer, I simply interpret the energies in my own unique way. You know that I do not nourish the old beliefs related to the planets, so that in my humble perspective I see almost everything as being always of great help to that we work with ourselves, not something external that comes to punish us. This is because the planets, like us, simply are, and it is our collective belief that they curse us that manifests, not the essence of the planets in itself. This is the time to work on self-limited beliefs, especially taking Chiron in Pisces and Jupiter by expanding that healing essence to the whole. Also, on September 27th, Jupiter will do a sesquil quadrature with Neptune, which will also help us expand our subconscious mind in order to bring healing to all that is still hidden. It is a precious time to overcome constraints and begin to recognize that nothing has ever been fixed, linear or the same in creation, because that has always been changing, evolving and continually transmuting itself to new ways of being. It was our limited three-dimensional minds that made everything static, unreal and divided. Now we know that nothing is to fix, but to liberate and unify, because we have never been broken, but unaware of all the wonders that surround us, as well as who we truly are. Now we are free, we choose to walk with love, in the light and accept everything as it is. At the moment we know that we are born really cured and that what we call sickness, only came when we choose to cover our health with illusions, fear and lack of love. Now we know that healing is our natural state of being, and that it will always prevail if we only choose to remove those illusory veils and begin to walk towards the light of who we already are, and always have been. And as with healing comes freedom, on September 28th, we have Jupiter as opposed to Uranus. Jupiter will expand the essence of Uranus from deliverance from all that binds us. Look at your lower self, see how it behaves and especially talk to yourself. observe where you still think you should do this or that. If not, observe what will happen if you do not. Sometimes we tend to self-sacrifice for others because of fear, and sometimes we are the ones who chained ourselves by allowing others to control us. It is vital to begin to observe where we still do not feel free and unconsciously choose to restrict ourselves. Once they discover the ones who still react, they rebel or simply allow others to manipulate them, be compassionate, not punish themselves. Many people, because of their guilty feelings, punish themselves in many different and unknown ways. Some choose to tell themselves constantly how ugly they are and how they are unable to change their reality. Others do this through addictions, and having addictions is not just drinking, drugging and smoking. Addiction is anything to which we give up our power, in order to help us relieve from the pain we feel, which only goes away when we face it. We feel every sensation, accepting all of them, and then releasing them. Another important cosmic event at the end of the month is Pluto, the planet of power, in direct motion, on September 28. While Pluto was retrograde, especially with Mercury, we saw the truth. As we dwelt on the depths of our soul, we took responsibility for our creations, altering, transforming and regenerating from within everything that did not resonate with who we are in making now. Now that Pluto is in direct motion again, we use all that power and knowledge to turn everything that is old into our physical lives as well. Pluto offers us the gift of being the transformers of our lives. It is constantly recreating reality, as we are also doing it from within, even if we have a sense of stillness. It is an opportunity for us to continue to destroy the old worlds and begin to bring into the world new worlds based on freedom and joy that follow the true desires our soul brings. September will be a continuation of the healing/liberation process, which we have been doing for a while, that will continue until we finally anchor ourselves, fully, in the frequency that is aligned with our current state of being. It is a time to set us free, and freedom comes when we are willing to undo and give up an old world and surrender to what our unified self has prepared for us. Liberation comes when we consciously decide to incorporate a higher level of consciousness because it will illuminate all illusions, which are still in our human minds, and consciously we choose to dispel anything but the truth. Freedom means mastery, which we used to admire in others and which we now recognize in ourselves, because the moment of being a passive follower, the guru's times, is over, for now we remember who we are, knowing that we are all equal and that we all have the power internally to become masters, healers and sovereign beings of our experience of life, sharing who we are, not as teachers but as humble and integrated beings who only wish to help, expand, and be signposts of the ways of the new. With freedom, too, comes the bliss and gratitude of being able to see, from a higher perspective, what we were able to imagine, when we were unconscious. However, with freedom also comes the commitment to assume every thought, word and act, knowing that when we harm others, we do it to ourselves, because with the higher consciousness comes the truth. And the truth is that we are all one, experiencing the illusion of being separated. Are you ready to confront your shadows, free yourself from your three-dimensional egoic personality, and finally be free to walk as the light that you are without being conditioned by your fears? As always, the choice is yours to welcome freedom or continue to opt for slavery. I wish you all a restful and miraculous month of September, beloved ones. With infinite love and light.